I, 15F, have grown up very empathetic and surrounded by paranormal culture, have been a believer since I was young, and my belief only started when we moved to a very rural area after my grandpa passed when I was like 4 at the time, and within a few months, we would hear music when no one was home and car doors slam when no one was none of our neighbors are close enough for it to have been them. We also would see apparitions. In hunting orange, my grandfather was a huge hunter, but never saw them inside up until recently. The creepiest thing I had experienced was in 3rd grade. I was 8 or 9. I was home alone and saw a shadow figure in our laundry room. I was home alone at the time. Fast forward, I have gotten so used to the minor activity and it eventually seeming backed off, but 2 years ago me and my mom were binging Ghost Hunters on DVD and talking about different things around paranormal activities. I have over time had become really empathetic over time and loss of a friend, pets, and family. When we were talking, we got on the topic of my brother. For this I'll call JC. She brought up as a kid he would sit in the corner and talk to dead family members. To that I said at least I wasn't that creepy as a little kid, and she looked at me with the response, "You were worse. You'd sit in the middle of the floor on that old landline phone talking to your great grandma Lucille." I was dumbfounded. I remember a lot from my childhood and couldn't believe I didn't remember it, so I asked, "How do you know I wasn't just messing around?" I really was questioning it. I grew up watching the paranormal and unexplained with my mom and grandmother, and she replied, "You called her Mary. She went by Mary." I felt uneasy AF, but tried to ignore because I was a kid, and kids do weird thing all the time. It was like 9 years ago at the time. Fast forward again, my grandpa passed last February, and while we were sitting with my grandma, she described a shadow figure standing over the foot of his bed a week before he passed, and then it just walked out of the house. I happened to also have a dream where there was a misplaced shadow figure. In my dream after his passing, I swear in my own house, heard whispers but blamed it on my brain filling the patterns of noise from my fan and ignored. But recently, I learned the first grandpa who passed when I was 4 died in our current house, and the activity has been picking up again, and I feel more aware again, and talking about me as a kid again leaves me with chills. I'm not so sure it's my imagination, and I'm convinced it never was, and that I just didn't want to accept it.